You're probably thinking to yourself, where has Kenny been? And I'll tell you that he has finally returned from his mission trip, and I am so grateful. And I'm not talking about a mission trip where he goes and tries to save the souls of other people in other countries. I sent him on a mission to go get us ice, and he traveled on horseback, no less, all the way through the Pacific Ocean down to Antarctica to pick us up ice. Sadly, it melted on the way back. But Kenny is back, and he has the heart of a gladiator. On the other hand, Lincoln told me that he was hurting real bad and that he was tired and he had the heart of a little girl. So anyway, Kenny, what do you got to say? We're gonna switch this up. How was your trip?
It was full of work. I really didn't get very much rest at all, and now I'm here to continue the lifelong agreement I've made with working hard.
But the mission trip to get the ice, how was that?
Oh yeah, that was a mission. That was a definite mission. It was a straight up task. I didn't make it all the way to Antarctica, like John said. I just made it to the ice dispensing machine down the street and somehow got lost for a week.
Wait, what? Nuh-uh.
Yeah, it's like when your dad leaves for a gallon of milk and maybe doesn't come back for a week and a half, 2 weeks. That's kind of like that, but with ice.
No.
Yeah.
You told me you went to Antarctica.
I went to the Antarctica ice dispenser machine down the street.
At QT.
Is that where it was?
Oh my goodness. You know what? I'm gonna let it go. Look, it's all just water under the fridge now. That's fine.
Water under the fridge, yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how that saying goes. Don't try to correct me. I'm the boss. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of John Works Too Much. We had to, and Kenny's back. Look, hey Kenny. And Canoe's back. How good is that? We're doing more Hardy today, and we've showed you how to do Hardy enough. So I thought I'll show you how to do one of these sliding glass doors. So it's got this flange just like a window all the way around, and there's a flange on the bottom, which sometimes you need, but we went ahead and cut this one off with a multi-tool, so that's good. Then we found that if you put these sliding glass doors in and mount them before you close them and lock them, then it ends up being a real issue. Seriously, later on, you're like, darn it, it's not square, and now we're gonna have to get it. So first we put it in place and we lock it, and then we get it in place and just nail it. So it's really not that hard. But the other thing is you want to make sure that the thing is tight because it slides, and a lot of times you'd be like, why isn't this locking? It's because when you push up on it, it just moves the latch and it doesn't actually lock it. So you got to make sure that that's in the right place and everything, and then you just nail it. It's really not hard. So you just come over here and put some nails in it. That's how you put it in a sliding glass, and then trim it out on the inside and the outside, foam and all that stuff. So I do want to talk about the fact, this is a little bit embarrassing. I hate to talk about stuff that's embarrassing for me. I really do. Kenny knows. Have I ever talked about anything embarrassing? Never. So this morning I wake up and I've got to go to the bathroom because, that happens. And I look down, I'm just looking up, and I look down and none of it's going in the toilet. There's no sound. It's just,
A split stream.
Right. And I was like, no more split pea soup for me for dinner.
Oh.
That's all I got. Hey, so we got all the siding on the outside. We'll show you that in just a second. But we did this, which is kind of interesting and different. Maybe you guys want to do something like this. So they had this cathedral kind of a ceiling up here, right? And the homeowner was like, hey, we want to have this inset thing, right? This box. So we thought long and hard, and I thought you guys might appreciate kind of seeing how it's done. So I'm going to show you. So what we did is our weight is on top of these walls. There's a double stud right here, and the weight sits on top of those walls. See it? So
this like the double stud standing behind the camera, huh?
Kind of like the double studs. Yeah, both of you guys standing behind the camera. Okay, so then this goes all the way across, and then we got short little runs that are 5 feet all the way, and they're half the weight is on top of this wall, which takes all the way down to concrete, and then half of it is on this, but it's distributed across. So then from there, we put these boards on in between, and we nailed quite a bit into these. And then once again, half the weight is on top of the wall, and then half of it is out here. And then we did that again, and then we built this little wall, and then we put this ceiling on top of it. So then it's gonna box up in, and we'll show you once it's done, it'll look really cool. But it was still wobbly in the middle, right? So if you got here or anywhere and kind of just grabbed it, it would just like wobble because there's nothing supporting it in the middle. So then what we did...
So what if you put too much weight on it, it would fall down, correct? if you didn't?
It would definitely wobble, and over time it might sag, right? Just because normally we have something that supports to the rafters. So what we did is we took these boards and we nailed in to this little wall thing, and then we nailed up into the rafters, and we did that in 6 places. So the 4 corners, and then one in the middle.
It's actually kind of cool. Like if you explain to them, like what happens is you nail that up into the rafter. That rafter leans into that ridge, and that ridge distributes the weight all the way back to a load-bearing wall.
To the wall. Yeah. So it actually does do pretty
So
good.
can we get an inspection? So
I got my inspector out here, and today the inspector is Kenny.
Okay, Kenny. How you doing, Mr.
All right, so I'm gonna do a real fast. It's called the Kenny Test Inspect. All right, you get up here, you look real hard at it, find a nice spot to grab on, and you just,
and see how it doesn't move, but Kenny does. Wow, you jumped
Did
all
we
that
pass,
way?
sir?
huh? It passed inspection. It's got a purple tag.
I don't know what that means, but purple's one of my favorite colors. I like it better than red and blue combined.
It's red and blue mixed.
Yeah.
Good one.
You got any funny stuff to say? We haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, I had some funny stuff to say, but just like
Let's go outside.
just like any other day. I'm
Exhausted?
yeah, brain farting.
That's fair. So, we got all this siding up before lunch, and we'll take a quick walk. I can't believe you don't have anything funny to say, Kenny.
I know it's weird.
It is weird. You're such a funny guy, and people look at you.
Oh,
and
here's that board that was 62.
62 and a quarter?
Oh, here, hold on.
It's supposed to be 62 and a quarter. What? Oh, that's the quarter.
There's 62 and a quarter.
That's funny. Kenny thinks he's funny. Take it back.
Very dumb.
Yeah, well, we're pretty dumb, so there.
Can we continue on with
let's look
this
at
property?
Yeah.
This is a professional video.
Yeah. So we did all this siding. We got everything caulked, and here in a minute we're about to spray the paint.
This is about to be painted what color? So even the black is going to be what color?
The black is going to be black, and the white is going to be white. It's going to be those colors.
Oh, we're keeping the black black? I thought you said that these were going to be white.
This part will be white, but then around the trim and the doors and the windows and stuff, that'll be black.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
So anyway, that's what we got.
What is this going to be used for?
We're going to use this. Okay, so a lot of people don't realize this, but with it being 2020, you have to be prepared. And so in case there's another pandemic, something that we could not possibly foresee, werewolf, hornets, or I don't know, like dolphin sharks.
Well, I heard that the new corona's causing people to start foaming at the mouth and eat people.
Correct. So if you have a zombie apocalypse,
That's the
then
strongest coronavirus out there right now.
This is past the Kenny test.
You
the
have to eat
zombies.
human beings in order to survive.
Yeah. Why don't
you
cannibals
get
eat
it.
clowns? Because they taste funny. Anyway, that's all I got.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Corona, you know
You have my attention.
the death rate in Mexico has been rising, right? They keep on finding all these Mexicans just laid out on the ground dead, surrounded by cases of Corona.
That is weird.
So that's the Mexican coronavirus.
Oh, hi. How you doing?
I'm good.
So today we worked on this beautiful little recreational facility, and Kenny and I and John we really kind of did a lot. We did the siding. We did all the what do you call it up there?
I don't know. Trim.
Oh my gosh, the trim up there. See, I'm not really in construction, but
Turns out you are.
I'm just beginning to.
Yeah.
All right, so check
realize.
this out. I'm gonna put it in layman terms for
Yeah.
y'all. So
Yeah.
today, John decided to get out his pinstripe spray tip for
Yep.
his spray
It's
rig.
like it sprays this wide.
Yeah, it sprays-
it's a lot of different layers.
It sprays in pinstripes, and also he has the ability to like slow down time and move at an unrealistic pace.
Have you ever played Prince of Persia? You like hit the L button.
So like whenever he's painting with the pinstripe spray attachment, it looks like someone's fast forwarding a VHS tape.
Does it have the wavy lines?
Yeah, it's got the wavy lines interlace, or is that interlace or is
Yeah,
that? Yeah. Okay. Anyways, I don't talk about video stuff anymore because now I'm just a carpenter.
All right, so
Let's talk to the real man.
Okay. Oh, that's me. All right. So what we did here, let me tell you what we did.
Yeah.
We put up all the siding, we put up all the trim, we caulked everything, we framed the inside up in that ceiling, and then we painted it. That's pretty much what we did. Not really that much. Just kidding, it was a lot of work. But Kenny's amazing, Dave Canooey's amazing, our homeowner over here is amazing.
I threw my back out today.
What was that thing you said about caulking your mouth earlier?
Oh my goodness. He's talking about, he was caulking with a caulk gun.
Yeah.
C-A-U-L-K, and some of it fell in his mouth.
Yeah.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it was light caulk, so he's safe. This is not a drill. I just had to say that because I think it's funny. Daryl laughed too when I said it. Okay, so today we had our electrician run some wiring in here. So we wired in all these can lights, which is nice, and we wired in a couple fans up there, which is nice, and then all these outlets, and then we've insulated, and then we're about to start sheetrocking. So that's pretty exciting. Daryl, I was just talking to Daryl, and he said that he would like to hear about, I had why do bad things happen to good people, and he said he wants to hear why good things happen to bad people. So I'm gonna do both. Number 8, why do bad things happen to good people? First of all, we have to set the record straight. Ain't none of us are good people, okay? So when we're all like, why did this happen to me? I'm innocent. You're innocent compared to other people maybe. Like if you compare yourself to Hitler or some bad person, you're like, look at that, I'm great. I'm not like a heroin addict. I'm not a murderer or a child molester. That's nice, but ain't none of us is good people. And I realize that everybody's gonna argue with me about this, but it's true. The Bible says that God makes the rain to fall down on the good and the evil, and that we're all kind of stuck in the same thing together. And so there's a parable about an enemy comes to his enemy's property and he sows bad seeds in the middle of the night. And so there's this good crop, and then he sows bad seeds in the middle of it. They're called tares, kind of weeds or whatever, in the middle of this crop of wheat. And then when it starts to grow, then the workers come to the owner of the land. They say, hey, there's a bunch of weeds, a bunch of tares in the middle of all this wheat. Should we try to pull them all out? And he's like, no, because they're all tangled together. And so if you try to tear out the bad ones with the good ones, you'll ruin the good ones too. And so we're gonna let them all grow up together, right next to each other, the good and the evil right next to each other, just mingle together. And when the time comes, when the harvest comes, then we'll be able to separate them like the chaff from the wheat. And it'll be just that easy. And so we are stuck, those of us who are good, allegedly, which I'm not a good person. Like, I know that some people are like, man, you're a saint, you're an angel. I'm like, compared to Hitler, yes, but compared to Jesus, absolutely not. Nevertheless, those of us that are good, we will be separated right out. But we still have to suffer right next to everybody else, and that's just part of life. And part of the bad thing about sin is that good people suffer for what bad people do. And that's kind of what makes sin so evil, is the fact that there are good people suffering, innocent people suffering for what bad people do. And does that suck? Yes, that sucks. But also, a lot of the things that we blame God for, we're like, how could you let this and this and this and this happen? I'm sure he looks right back at us and goes, yeah, how do you let all that stuff happen? Because most of the stuff that we complain about is direct consequences from things we were told not to do, and we did it anyway. Anyway, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. So we are going to get some stuff done today. David Kanui's back hurt this morning, and so I hope his back gets better. I know there are those of you that are sick right now, and I hope that you guys get better too. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Love you guys. Oh, hey there. So we got some stuff done today. We got the electrician, my electrician, came and did the wiring, which is great. Got all these can lights put in, which is super fantastic. We insulated the walls that have sheetrock and the ceiling. And then we hung some sheetrock. We also put in doorknobs and things. And I know that you're thinking to yourself, how does John cut this stuff so quickly and so easily? Well, a long time ago, somebody told me, your tape measure doesn't lie. So if you just measure it and then mark it where you measured it, you're good to go. Now that brings up an important point. Like, maybe you're doing something and your tape measure is wrong. I saw something recently and this tape measure was like different sizes. Well, that would be very bad. Or what about in your real life, let's say that your moral compass is not pointing north and you think you're doing the right thing, but you're not doing the right thing. Like, how do you gauge that? How do you recalibrate that? For example, Daryl told me today that he thought he was a certain weight, which was very light. And he kept thinking that he was the same weight for many years. Is that right, Daryl? Yes. And then he went to the doctor and they told him that his weight was much more than what he thought it was. And he was shocked by this. And he goes, no, I swear my scale is at this weight. And he went back home and it turns out that his scale maxed out at a certain weight. And he had long past whatever weight that was. And so now he's trying to eat right and exercise or whatever. Anyway, the point is that he realized that his metric for measuring things was incorrect. And now he's taking measures to fix that. And I think that's wonderful. And I think that we need to be teachable, because here's the thing. If you're offended by everything, and everybody right now is offended by everything, then guess what? You can be easily manipulated. There's a clue. If you're offended by anything, the media or anybody can easily manipulate you. And you're like, they made me mad. Bull crap, you made you mad. Somebody can do the exact same thing to two different people and have two different reactions. They didn't make you do anything. You reacted. You got triggered by something and you allowed this to manipulate you. So don't, because then look, watch. Hey John, you're an idiot. I'm like, that's nice, have a good day. Anyway, that's it. Hey there. So welcome to our day. We've done some sheetrock here this morning and some insulation, and that's nice. I've got a big surprise for everybody. Are you ready for this? I'm having a baby. In China, make my next pair of shoes. Anyway, so you can see these circles where the recessed lights are. Those can be a challenge, and it occurred to me that maybe you guys don't know how to measure for that. So there's this drill bit right here. See it? And that just drills and cuts the hole, and all you gotta do is find the center. The problem is this drill bit is just a little bit too small, so I have to modify it every time. So rather than use that, because they got me, then what I did is I measured how far it is to the center of this, and then how far it is to the center of this, and I put those measurements up here. And so if we do this, and we go 40 3/4, this is important, and then we go 41 3/8 this way. What's that, 41 3/8? Right here. Then that's our center, okay? So, how do you make a circle? Good question. We know that that's a 6.5 inch diameter, and so the radius is 3 1/4 inches. So if we come to the center of this, yep, you got it. Then we go 3 1/4 and 6.5, and then we're gonna come this way. Sorry, I'm trying to let you see it. 3 1/4, 6.5, and then same thing here. 3 1/4, 6.5. Boom, boom. And then that's your circle, right? So then you just connect the dots. I'm sure you guys have done that. And that's a perfect circle. There's a band about that. And then you get your sheetrock saw right here. So if you don't know how to cut around circles, now you know how to cut around circles. Pretty simple. So that's what I do with tile or sheetrock or siding or anything like that. And anything else you want to talk about, Canoe?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah.
We're about to go eat lunch.
True story. True story. Wait, there's something. Oh, that can wait till later. We are going to go eat lunch. I'm starving. I think my belly button's gnawing away at my spine right now. And clearly I'm sweating a lot. Show them how dry your shirt is. Way, your hand's right in the way. Way dry. Now look at how wet my shirt is. Disgustingly wet. Just nasty. Anyway, love you guys. So, last week I showed you guys how to tape in bed. We got the sheetrock up. That's really amazing. And I showed you kind of the slow, let's patch something kind of way to tape in bed. But now I'm going to show you how to tape in bed with a banjo. And some people call it a banjo. There's two different brands. There's a banjo and a bazooka. But basically what happens is you've got, and my friend Nicole Maxwell from California was like, haha, you're gonna do this with a banjo, you're funny. But basically, it's not an instrument. So your roll of tape goes here, and then that latches on, if you can make your fingers work. And then the tape comes through here, and then you take mud that you mix up with water, and fill this in, okay? I think you can see where this is going, that the tape comes out and it coats it with mud, and then it saves you a process. So we're gonna try this real quick and see if it works. This is our first try, since our last try. But basically, then you get this, and let's try something low first. So it's got this handle, and then you get your tape and pull on it, and then just put it in place. Oops. Try not to do what I just did there. And then you can do that a lot, right? So you can come back over here. I lost my tape, darn it. I know this would happen if I was shooting a video. It's not that hard to recover. And then Yeah, see it? Gravity doesn't want to be my friend right now. And that's got a thing at the end, you just cut it off, right? So, pretty fantastical. And we'll do...
And so after you do that, what do you do?
Yeah, let me show you. Okay, so then, normally I would take...
So basically underneath the tape, it's filling up the little crack.
Right, with mud.
With
So
mud.
normally I would do as many joints as I could until I run out of mud, and then I'd come back and then you squeeze out the mud, right? So the bottom is always a mess, but just get this stuff out. So if you're doing a bigger thing than just a couple tape joints or whatever, then this really does help. I'm gonna scoop this over. Ugh. I look like I'm retarded right now. I don't mean retarded, I mean whatever.
No, you do mean retarded.
No, I mean like what's a non-PC, non-offensive way to say that I'm not very smart?
To speak about John, retarded.
That's fair. I deserve that. Anyway, so that's that, and then I'll show you another one over here. So this was, we had a batch that's pretty wet, so it's probably gonna be pretty wet. And that's kind of what you do, right? So that's your first coat, and then that's the tape part of it. So here you can see that tape sticking out. We want to put more mud behind it. Now it's not sticking out, so now you don't have some stupid looking bubble. And that's that. And then you come across with a bigger knife and then do a big wide thing right here. So normally, if you got an 8-foot ceiling, it's just one seam right here. But because this is like an 8'7" or whatever, then we've got to have this piece in the middle. But that's how you use a banjo. So it's not an instrument, it is a tool. Love you guys. So we use the banjo to do tape embedding, and we got all of this tape embedded in one coat. We use the outside corners. I think I showed you how those work. You basically have this stuff and you put mud down and then put this in place and then press down on it. And then that's what we use around the windows, and then around this whole, yeah, you can see it. And then around this this whole inset thing over here. So remember, we framed all this up the other day. That's where the fans are going to be, and then that's where all the recessed lights are going to be, and it looks really nice. So that is tremendous. What would I like to talk to you guys about right now? What do you think, David? Baby elephants? Perfect. Okay, we're going to talk about baby elephants. So, is that what you were saying? No. I felt like that somebody was sending me a message telepathically, talk about baby elephants. So I will. When baby elephants are in a circus, then they want to break their will. So the elephants want to get away. Naturally, they want to be free. They're free creatures like all of us are. And so what they do is they drive a stake deep into the ground, wherever these baby elephants go, and they put a huge chain around their back leg. And these baby elephants want to be free. And so they pull and they tug and they pull and they tug and they pull and they tug, and they really hurt themselves, right? They end up with a big scar around their back foot. And eventually, they realize, as much as I pull, and as much as I tug, and as much as I try to fight, I cannot escape this. I will never get away from this thing, and they stop trying because their will is broken. And they do this when they're small, because if they try to do it when they're big, they can get away. And so they break their will when they're small, and then for the rest of their life, they have a tiny nylon yellow rope that goes around in a stake that's maybe in the ground a foot. And they feel any resistance, and they just stop and they go, I've tried this before, it's hopeless, and they don't try anymore. But the truth is that even if they had the big chain, as an adult elephant, even if they had the chain and the big stake, they could lift that thing up and they could walk away for their freedom. And so I guess the point that I'm trying to make is, are we like that? When we're small, I feel like every one of us has been broken to some degree. We've been told, you are not good enough, you cannot do this, you will not rise to this occasion, and just give up because it's hopeless. Don't even bother trying. You've been scarred by this, you've been hurt by this, and there's no point in even trying anymore. But the truth is, you're a big elephant now. So lift that foot up and walk away and be free from these bonds that are holding you for so long. So I'm pretty excited because I've got kind of a side hustle. I sold my homing pigeon on eBay for the 22nd time today, and I'm expecting it to come back on probably day after tomorrow, something like that. So I'm pretty excited about that. So we had to take a break on this particular job because we had other jobs and there was city problems. But it occurred to me that I haven't showed you guys how to do second and third coat on tape and bed yet. And so here's how it looks. So if we come close, and you see from the first coat, it looked pretty good, but it's got some rough stuff and it kind of shrinks back and you have like dimples and things like this. Where, see right here where the paper dimples because it sucks back in. And then on your nail holes, you can see over there, it sucks back in here too, right? So what you gotta do is get a wider knife, this 12-inch knife right here. That's a 12-inch knife rather than a 6-inch. And then you wanna, see that drag? That's bad, you don't want that drag. Then you want to float this out, right? So what the concept is that you're building it out and then back in, kind of, but it's very subtle. And so as you do that, you want it to be smooth, and finished looking. Like that kind of, it's supposed to be real wide, right? A lot of people think that they do some small little tape on it, that's good, but it's not good. You want it to be real wide, and tapered out and smooth. So see how that looks significantly better than, say, here or there? That's what you're looking for. You also want to hit all your nail holes again, which is pretty simple. And like that. This one we have a double joint. So because this was over 8 feet tall, we had to put a piece in the middle. And so that's slightly, I would finish that whole thing, but I'm just trying to show you guys fast. So you want to kind of cover this middle part and then come out to the outside and then the other side. Like that. So you end up with a pretty wide tape joint on that, but then it looks much better. So on your corners, there's a corner over here, give me a second. Let me get a different knife. Six-inch knife, 12-inch knife. So on the corners, use a 6-inch knife. And you want to do one side of the corner. And see how it's got tape on it right now? We want to bed that tape, right? And then once that dries, then we'll come and do the other side of that. But it's okay if you have to do several passes to make it look good. So another thing is you hear people talk about sanding their tape and bedding. And a long time ago, which I never read, and I had to look at the pictures, but a long time ago I was reading the back of the box of mud because I was bored. And it said not to sand at all because sand gets in your lungs and it's bad for you and stuff like that. And to actually use a wet sponge. But I say just make it right the first time and then you don't have to worry about sanding it at all. Not everybody has that luxury. All right, David, what else do you want to talk about?
It's time for my kids to start school,
Yep.
and neither of them want to find out everything they need in order to get started. So I'm at work, and they're at home being lazy
Yeah.
and not applying themselves.
Yeah.
So figure out what to talk about with that.
Well, I think we should talk about time management and how important it is. Okay, like for example, it takes time for seeds to grow. Everybody thinks they're gonna wait till the last second and now I'm gonna do this. You know, like it takes a while to get good at something. If you think you're gonna come in at the last second and be like, oh, here I am, I just showed up and look how awesome I am, you're wrong. You need to take the time and prepare every step of the way so that when something comes, this reminds me of a good story actually. So I have something up on my office wall and it's about a discus thrower. So in the 1800s, this guy wanted to throw the discus in the Olympics. And he wanted to be able to not just throw it, but to beat the world record. So he went to the library and found the dimensions of this discus and he made one exactly to spec. And he's like, I got this. And he measured off in his field how far it was to beat the world record. And he threw this discus all the time until finally he could beat that record every single time. And he was just like, I can beat the world record, no problem. I've got the discus, it's regulation, I'm ready to go. He goes and tries out for the Olympics and they hand him the discus and he's like, what's this little thing? And they're like, oh, that's a discus. And he goes, no, my discus is solid steel. And they're like, ours is wood and it's coated in a thin coat of steel. And he's like, But the thing is, he had trained with something that was so heavy that by the time they gave him the real discus, he's like, I know I can beat the world record with the heavy discus. Watch this. And he just, nobody touched his record for decades. Nobody could beat him because everybody practiced with the light thing and he had practiced with the heavy thing. And I think that sometimes in life, we're stuck with stuff that's like, man, this is really hard. This is really difficult. Why do I have to go through all this? But later on in life, something comes along and you're like, this is nothing compared to what I've already dealt with. This pain is nothing like the pain I'm used to. And then you actually dominate. So I think it's very important to be as prepared as you possibly can every step of the way so that when hard times come, you're ready. And it does take time for seeds to grow. All right, love you guys.